Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Soaring Through Chaos. And the reason we do these sessions is to share with each other, to learn from each other's lives. As we know, we are still in the midst of a pandemic. Life is quite chaotic, and the degree of chaos may be different, but it is affecting all of us to some extent or the other. There is the fear. In fact, one of my best friends, his parent, his father, his uncle, everybody tested positive for COVID-19, and it's been it's one of the things that's bugging me right now. But that's what all of us are going through in differing ways. So, along with the fear of health and the disease, there's also the fear of job loss, about making ends meet, and of course, the anxiety and all that come with it, the divisiveness. So, I'm always looking to talk to people who I know or who I get to know who are doing things that are helping the world become a better place. One of them is Prarthi Shah. So I met her very interestingly at another friend's birthday party, probably like 6 to 8 months ago, maybe, yeah, something like that. And interestingly, that was a day when she got one of the most coveted awards of the year. So can you tell us a little bit, Prarthi, about that? What your life has been like, and what was that award, if you can say that?
Yeah, so when we met at Manjeet's birthday party, so we met there at first time, but I knew from social media before. And that day, my award got announced, which was National Youth Icon Award from New Delhi. So after the celebration of Manjeet, we also celebrated the announcement of my award with the friends, and that was
Yeah.
for the environmental conservation and awareness I'm doing since last 6 or 7 years.
So tell us more about that. I mean, you look very young. So when did you start? Did you start doing environmental work when you were in your cradle?
Not really, but yeah, you can say that because I started when I was in 10th standard. So I was in school, 2010. So I got this idea that I want to build something for the youth to engage them into environmental education and awareness, and give them a new direction to go into the field of environment. So I was sitting one day at my home and I got this idea that okay, I'll give my group's name Baroda Strikers, and I came up with the idea of gathering my own friends and starting something. So in 2010 I launched it, and in 2012, after our 12th exam, we activated the group Baroda Strikers, and we launched the website and everything with my 7 friends. So we were called 7 core members of Baroda Strikers, and we got a huge response from Vadodara city for this initiative, and a lot of people joined us. And after that, it has been a really wonderful journey to do something for the environment and youth.
And you've done many more things since then, right, related to the environment. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing and how it has changed the city of Vadodara?
So this is the work which doesn't pay you in a shortcoming. So it's a long process, and whenever you are doing something, you always get setbacks, and then you get success. So our journey has been from giving presentations to school students, to colleges, to doing a mapping project for Vadodara, and raising our voices for river Vishwamitri and Sursagar Lake. Development versus environment has always been a debate. So and a lot of team members kept changing in my team, so that was also a challenge. And so from doing the presentations and awareness programs, we started doing little projects in our city, and then we also expanded to Ahmedabad and Surat. So we also have Surat Strikers and Ahmedabad Strikers now.
That's really cool. That's really amazing. So, have you been continuing your work on environmental causes and other things related to it?
Yeah, so my journey started like that, and then I went to Ahmedabad for my master's, which was master's in heritage management. So I kind of had an idea to integrate heritage and environment, which is natural heritage, what we call. So I made that subject as my specialization, and I started to work in parallel fields, which was environment and heritage. So after my graduation and masters, I went to UNESCO Category 2 Center in Dehradun. I stayed there for a year, and I enjoyed my time there. Learned many things. That was mostly for World Natural Heritage Sites, which was a very broad area and a very interesting subject to work on. And then I came back as a consultant of Earth Day Network India for Gujarat, and parallelly working for Dandi Salt March project, that is with Gujarat Vidyapeeth, and it is funded by Ministry of Culture. So both the fields are, making me go into traveling, and it's really fun. But this pandemic has given me a pause, and in a way it's a good thing, and in a way it's a bad thing because I cannot travel because of the restrictions. But I'm really enjoying my time here in Vadodara. Since last 5 years, I didn't get this much time. I'm in Vadodara since 4 months. So that's a long time I could be with my family.
Wow, this is the longest time with your
Yeah.
family. That's so nice.
Yes.
In fact, talking about pauses, even hair cutting doesn't feel safe. So I tried cutting my hair and look what happened today.
My
So,
case is opposite actually. I haven't cut
uh,
my hair since then, and it's quite long. It's the longest I had my hair.
because of the pause in haircut.
Pause, yeah.
And I feel for them. I feel for those people whose profession it is to do these things. And I don't even know how they're able to make ends meet right now. Those are the challenges.
Yeah.
Speaking of challenges, you were, from whatever my calculations show, you were a teenager for most of your time working on all these things. And teenagers are not the most patient when it comes to dealing with conflict and ups and downs and challenges. And correct me if I'm wrong, this seems to be the first major thing you've done in your life as an activity, right? Working on the environment and then heritage and environment. How was it like to deal with the ups and downs and the fact that you may actually have a, two steps ahead, one step back? How was it like? And what did you
Uh,
learn from it?
so my journey has been more challenging than rewarding, actually. And I was not a very good student in school, but I had an interest in science, so I wanted to pursue science anyway. And so I worked on the projects since my school days, and then I had this thing in my mind that I want to do this, and I was very passionate about it. So I kept going and going. I did have setbacks. Many times I had to stop it and work on, focus on my studies more. But in a way, I could keep it continuing. So yeah, I'm still in that field.
That's really nice. In fact, you didn't quite mention it, but my understanding is that this award is at a national level on the top 25 women or 25 youth. Is that correct?
Youth, yeah, youth.
And that's a really big deal, and that's why everybody was celebrating that, which was a wonderful time to meet you. And what do you expect to do continuing forward? What are your plans, if
Uh,
you have any?
my plans is I will continue working in this field as a consultant, and also I'm trying to establish an organization which guides the youth to be in this field. How do they, what courses they should get, and then what are the organizations they get jobs in. One channel which guides the youth. That is
Mhm.
my plan in long term.
So you want to empower the youth, the next generation, using education and all that.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
now that we are in the midst of the pandemic, and as you clearly pointed out, before you were traveling so much and zero travel, how are you able to function? And do you think there will be changes in the way you do your work going forward?
Yeah, so this time is also a very good learning period for me. I realized that I have traveled so many places after looking at my photographs, going through my old folders, because I am into photography. So I was looking at my old folders, and I also started a page for photography since so many years. So I got the time for go back and rethink the work I was doing and what can be continued and what can be improved actually. And one thing which is good that now people will be more hygiene sensitive, and they are also realizing the importance of environment because of this lockdown, and they are also turning into being organic, which is a very positive sign, I'm saying. So I'm hoping that more people will be inclined towards this, and they will join us.
Yeah, for sure. Many of us are reading about it. And some of the puzzling things that I saw, which you probably know more than we do, is that the scientists had said that the ozone layer could take years, it may not even be able to patch up. But it seems like the ozone layer has reversed and is doing well, or rather, the hole in the ozone layer. Likewise, in places like Baroda, where we are right now, I had not seen blue skies probably in 10 or 15 years. And it's a delight to watch blue skies now. Did any of these things surprise you, or were they predicted?
Yeah, so in the lockdown period, everybody was at home, right? So the carbon emissions came down, and pollution level was really more positive actually. So we were carbon negative actually. So that time many people saw Himalayas from Punjab, and skyline was so clear. Nobody saw those many stars in the sky, so it was surprise for everybody. But yeah, we could expect that because everybody was at their homes, and economic activities were not happening. The industries were shut down. So that was a reverse effect of lockdown, and a positive one. But now, when everything is slowly starting, now we will have to think about it, that how do we keep the pollution into control, and again it should not boom like it was before the lockdown.
So, are you involved in any of the activism in terms of trying to influence the government on, environmental changes and like trying to protect the environment? Or are you involved in any
Uh,
kind of activism, say, working with the factories, the ones that are the polluting industries?
yeah, so my own philosophy is not going against anybody. So I don't prefer activism as my style of work, but I always try to work with them, with the government and with the industries. So I would go and help them in the projects, and with the government as well. Whatever we can do after opposing them, we could go and sit with them, work it out, and then come up with a positive result. That is
Can you give an example of how you have been able to change, say, a company's behavior and help them to go positive using without confronting them, right? Can you give an
yeah,
example of how you've done that successfully?
yes. Very small example. Every company has their annual meetings, and annual conferences where thousands of people join them for their company. So they give them a small souvenir to take back home. So I just simply suggested one company that why don't you switch that souvenir to an eco-friendly product. May it be like a small pencil which is made from seed, or eco-friendly paper, or a memento which is eco-friendly. So that will leave a very good impact in all the minds of people who were present there, and also that will give a goodwill of that company in the minds of others. So that was a very small thing, but they took it very positively, and they did it, and the response was phenomenal.
Yeah, small but very
Yeah,
significant, because
small. Yeah,
it also changes the attitude of the executives and they see the response, right? That's great. And has COVID-19, has the pandemic affected your work? And how are you feeling about it? Especially, I see a lot of young people feeling desperate. They cannot meet their friends, they cannot hang out, they cannot date, all kinds of crazy things. How do you feel about it? Somebody who's been working so hard, do you also feel affected by the pandemic?
yeah. So a person who travels a lot, sitting at home from months is quite difficult. But there are positivities and negativities in both. So it's like, yeah, my work is affected because I'm not being able to travel and meet people, go to the schools and colleges I was working with. So, and also in Ahmedabad where my office is. So a lot of thing is affected. Because of that, we had to postpone our events, and the Dandi Yatra which we were organizing from March to April. So that is also postponed to maybe October. And I'm now assuming that we won't be able to do that in October as well, because the situation is not in control yet. But positive things are that yes, we can sit back and evaluate the things, and also make the plans for other activities which we can resume after the situation comes in control. And I also got time to write research papers, and write the articles which were pending. A lot of pending work I could finish, and I could reconnect to family and friends in this time. So it has been a very good journey so far. I have kept myself away from the frustration, and I'm hoping that I'll continue to do so.
And do you have any suggestions, especially for people of your generation, as to how they can use this time in a positive and productive way?
Uh, I started learning many things. One of it was cooking, and second thing was I started exercising in my home, looking at the YouTube videos. So sometimes you don't get tired, you don't want to sleep. So engaging yourself into various activities keep you engaged as well, and you also enjoy, and you feel that you did something in that day.
That's
So
nice.
that some yeah, exploring your own hobbies, that is one thing everyone should do in this time.
And just another aside, when you started working on this a long time ago, and again you had, as you said, you had your challenges, setbacks, and then again a little positive. As you said, you had more challenges than positive
Yeah.
news, right?
Yes.
What kept you going all these years? What made you give you the tenacity to?
So in every aspect of my life, in the phases, there was one mentor who was there, and who guided me. In every phase, I had a different mentor, but I had somebody to look up to, and who constantly guided me in my journey. So I'm very fortunate about that. My family is very supportive about my work. My friends are very supportive about my work, and I always had a mentor to go and ask the questions, and express my frustration to.
That's
And
true.
yeah,
That's true.
and the passion is always, you have to keep your passion, you have to keep going. That is the only way to reach somewhere.
And when you're passionately doing something, things don't work, there will be frustration, there will be upsets and anger. So it's good that you had somebody you could vent and let go of those negative feelings and then go
Yes.
forward.
And
And
another thing is
yeah,
also, yeah,
please go
another
ahead.
thing is also that, the decision was made by me. It was completely, entirely my decision. And I decided to do what interested me. So that was the biggest reason that I didn't let go of my dreams. Nobody told me to go into this field or face these challenges. It was me who decided it. So every success and every failure was my own, and that kept me going more.
But it's interesting you're saying that. Prarthi, when I was your age, I took at least the safer road. I took the engineering road. It was much later in life that I said, I have enough food to eat, khana pina hai. Now I will venture into something that I really want.
Yes, yes, yes.
What made you take this kind of so-called risk so early in life? Because most people
Okay.
wait till they have enough, or they have a big name or
True, true,
whatever.
true, true,
So what
true.
made you do it so early?
First thing that, of course, I wanted to do it, and as early you start it, you have more years to build that. So that was one thing, to start it early. And I already had that idea in my mind, so it was easy for me to start because I already figured that out. You know. Yeah, and another thing is also, I always read inspirational books and watch inspirational videos. Gaur Gopal Das is one of the people who had impacted me in a philosophical way, and he said that people are two types. One is candle, and one is ice cream. Candle is very selfless, right? Candle burns and gives light till it dies. And ice cream's philosophy is that you enjoy it before it melts. So find a middle way of doing both the things at a time. And what I am trying to achieve in my life is also that I studied, I completed my master's, I did not let go of my degree, and I did the work parallel. And also I kept a job to support me financially, and I was also doing the work which was very selfless. So I always try to achieve that balance in my life, that I don't go in uh, you know any side should not go upper. That is my motto.
So Prarthi, people of your age don't talk like you. In other words, they don't talk about philosophies, reading from Gaur Gopal Das or somebody and all that. So do you ever run into difficulties mixing with people of your age, or I can see people of my age happy to talk to you because you have that maturity. How about when you mix around with teenagers and young adults?
I have a two type of personality. One is a very wise Prarthi, and second is a party Prarthi, which also mixes with the young youth. And I also work with a lot of young people, so I know what are the cool things, and I also try to make a balance in that. I am still a very little child from my heart, so.
That's great. So you
And
keep your
all this wisdom is learned from my journey only. I was not born wiser. So
well, we all learn it along the way. There's no question about that. It's just that I think because of your focus in a couple of areas, you have gone on that direction probably faster. I don't know, which is great, which is fantastic.
I cannot say that I have gone faster, because there are many things where I'm still stuck, and I have to find ways to take a step ahead.
Is
So
there anything you can
yeah.
mention where you feel stuck in terms of your work, and where you feel there is a need for improvement, either self-improvement or in your work?
Yeah, so whenever you are working as a service to the society, you always have to think that how do you make it self-sustaining. because in the volunteerism, all the people come and join you in their own free time, right? There is no commitment you can ask from them because you are asking them to be a volunteer. They are not your employees. So sustaining it for a long time is one question which every organization faces, and I am also facing, because make, retaining people in the organization is something you have to figure out.
Yeah, and honestly, there are no simple answers to these things. There are no shortcuts to finding a way to make an NGO or a non-profit and an educational organization fully self-reliant. So, speaking of all the changes that are happening during the pandemic, do you see us going back to the old way of life, the polluting cars, the throwing garbage into the waters, or do you see a new normal emerging? What do you think is the likely scenario in your opinion?
Yeah, so I also organized one conference about this in March, just right after the lockdown was announced. And we were discussing that, what should be the new normal? Because the normal which we had was not very normal for Earth. And we have to change a few things to, make the Earth a better place to live. So there were industrialists, there were educational institutes who joined us, there were students. So everybody was talking about the pollution level, everything. But then it comes to, every individual people and their choices. That after the pandemic, after the lockdown is over, when you go out and start contributing in the other way, adverse way to pollute, or what are the small things which you can change in your lifestyle, which can make a little bit impact in the society, in the earth, in the atmosphere. So so I hope that people are thinking in this way. I am surely thinking about it, and if I have a choice to change something and do it a little better way, I would definitely try.
And you mentioned something very useful and important early on, which was the fact that activism doesn't always lead to results, because when you go and tell somebody that they're wrong, they're more likely to go on the defensive and they won't change. Instead, you work with them towards making changes. Now that you've had the free time the last few months, and you haven't met anybody, have you had any new ideas on how to use your way to incentivize people and incentivize companies, incentivize government towards making changes that will be mutually beneficial for them, as well as beneficial for the environment and sustainability? Have you seen any have you had any new ideas in the last few months?
So I kept doing the online events and competitions activities for people in this time, and a lot of people ask me that, what are the changes which we could consider in our lifestyle that would change something. So I made charts for them. I made the carbon emissions and things which they can reduce in their lifestyle or change it in their lifestyle to bring something positive. And so I think that convincing people after this pandemic is more easier than before, because we have faced it, we have seen the results, and some pandemic like this, we cannot afford it in regular intervals, right? So we have to change a few things. We have to reevaluate a little bit things. So, and even there are fires, the polar ice is melting faster. People are already facing it, and we are already into flood situation in many cities of Gujarat. So I think this is the time where everybody should put an effort. Otherwise, it will be a runaway situation, then we won't be able to do much.
Well, I'm glad we talked about so many different things. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Tell those who are patiently listening to us. Do you have any other suggestions, any recommendations on how they can be better people, or how they can be good to the environment?
So in this situation, what you were saying, that many youth is not able to cope up, and they're sad that they are not able to meet the friends. But I would like to say that if you have a chance to be at home, and if you have a chance to work or study from your home, then you should not step out of your house right now, because there are a lot of people who has no choice, and they have to anyway go and work on their livelihoods. So if you have a chance, then you should not step out and party or meet your friends right now, because caring for someone is not meeting them in this situation. And if you care about someone, then you have to practice the social distancing.
Well, thanks again for all your suggestions, for sharing with us. And what's the best way if somebody wants to get in touch with you, know about your work? Are there websites? Are there Facebook pages about the work you're doing?
Yeah, so anybody can connect me on my email ID, which is shahprarthi@gmail.com. And we have a page called Baroda Strickers on Facebook. Baroda Striker, the striker spelling is STRICKERS. So you can look up there, you can drop a message to us and connect us there also. And I also have my pages. One page which is Orthodox, which I have launched, the photography page. And Orthodox is, the spelling is Earth, EARES, Orthodox. So there's an Orthodox community which I am building. You can also be part of that and share your photographs with me as well.
Great, great. And we will definitely share all these links along with the video wherever
Definitely.
I post it. And
Sure.
thanks again to all those listening. And it's always a joy to meet people of different ages from different parts of the world, so we can all learn from each other. If you have any questions, you know where to find Prarthi and me. And if you want to participate, you know where to find me also. Please feel free and talk about different things, what you've learned, the challenges you've faced. It's always fun. Thanks again, and very nice
Thank you
talking to
so
you,
much for
Prarthi.
having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a very nice initiative you are running. I must tell you that it's commendable, and it's giving the hope and positivity to all the people.
Well, I needed the hope. That's why I started it. Even I
Same,
needed hope.
likewise.
Yes, yes. Well, thanks again, and please stay in touch.
Sure.